2021. But before we jump into all of that, don't forget you can follow me on Instagram at I Hate Gerge Brooms. You can follow this podcast at From the Top Rope Podcast. Don't forget you can follow us on TikTok as well at From the Top Rope. And you can also follow us on YouTube if you just search Gerge Brooms or From the Top Rope. You can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or on Instagram TV. If you can hear, I don't know if you guys can hear or not, if it's coming through or not. I record this in my garage, and literally I'm in the Florida Gulf Coast, the Florida Panhandle. There's a damn tropical storm going on outside. So if it sounds like the world's falling apart, it's because right outside of my door there's a tropical storm going on. And I didn't hear it until I started to record the podcast. I came in here and I was setting up, and now I can really hear the rain. So it must have just started coming down. I'm also coming up with a Discord wrestling chat called From the Top Rope. That's going to be coming out real soon. If you're interested in jumping on our wrestling Discord, we're going to be doing I may be doing a trial run for Hell in a Cell where we'll kind of do live chatting during the pay-per-view. More to come on that. Check me out on Instagram at I Hate Gerge Brooms to talk more about that. Don't forget, I am also the general manager of Combat Sports Pro. It's a local wrestling promotion here in Fort Walton Beach. I am the kayfabe general manager, and damn, I'm having so much fun with those guys. Our next show is next Saturday, the 26th of June. Tropic Combat is coming to Props Brewery and Tap Room here in Fort Walton Beach. Doors open at 6:30. Bell is at 7 p.m. Our main event is a TLC Triple Threat Tag Team match for the Combat Sports Pro Tag Team Championships. Oh my God, y'all. I'm going to be doing a full podcast later on this week, previewing the show, and actually talking to the man himself, Lucha Locoro, one of the guys participating in that Tag Team TLC match, is currently one half of the Tag Team Champions, and he has gone public on social media and said that this will be his retirement match. Lots of fun stuff coming in the world of Combat Sports Pro later on this week. Really good stuff. This is going to be your Hell in a Cell preview podcast. I will be recording another podcast tomorrow, wrapping up a week in wrestling where I have my special guest, Eric Radecki, coming back on, hopefully, if it all works out. And I'll be doing my live on Instagram post-show of Hell in a Cell 2020. I've been kind of bad about the last couple shows about not doing post-shows. Y'all, I'm so goddamn tired after these shows. But I promise you, I will be right here on Instagram. Follow me at I Hate Gerge Brooms. So you can watch me do a live podcast. I will release it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify after the show as well. Don't forget, we are also sponsored by Bath AF. That is Bath AF, the best bath bombs in the world. Check them out on Etsy. If you go to bathaf.etsy.com, you can customize your soap today. Guys, Father's Day is tomorrow, and they're having a 15% Father's Day sale right now. Check them out, bathaf.etsy.com. You can also follow them on Instagram at I Love Bath AF. Check them out. Get your bath bombs today. We're also sponsored by Twin Hippo Designs. You can find them on Instagram at Twin Hippo Designs. Simple designs for lovers and simple things, cute stationary items to enhance that relationship with your small business and customer. Check them out on Instagram at Twin Hippo Designs. Okay, so we are here today to talk about Hell in a Cell 2021 happening tomorrow night live on Peacock. And to say I'm excited for the show is, I don't know if that would be a lie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love pay-per-views. I think pay-per-views are a lot of fun. They're 10 times better than their weekly product. That includes SmackDown. The pay-per-views usually sell out or are good, especially compared to the weekly product. But I don't know about the card. I mean, we're gonna run down the card. I'm gonna talk about it stuff. It seems like, my personal opinion, it seems like they know that they're going to be out of the Thunderdome soon. This is the final Thunderdome pay-per-view right here, Hell in a Cell. Next one, next month. They haven't officially announced it, but Money in the Bank is next month. That's going to be the first pay-per-view with fans in attendance. And so good riddance, Thunderdome. And I'm going to be looking forward to saying goodbye to you real soon. But it also feels like WWE's super spinning their wheels, and they're a little all over the place with their direction. Tomorrow we'll talk about the news, but I was listening to my homies over at WrestleBuzz with the Wrestling Journal podcast, and they were talking about how Vince McMahon, the rumor coming out is that Vince McMahon knows that his product is subpar, and he's not like blind to it. So he's trying to figure it out what they're going to do. And I mean, they've got about a month left before fans are going to boo them out the fucking building if they don't fix some of this shit. So with that being said, the hype level is not there from the matches, the build up for these matches at Hell in a Cell 2020 or 2021, excuse me. But I think it could potentially show out that night, especially if you look at some of the cats we got on the card. Before we jump in and talk about the preview, though, I do want to mention that what I presumed was going to be the main event of Hell in a Cell was going to be Roman Reigns defending his Universal Championship against Rey Mysterio inside Hell in a Cell. I assumed that was going to be the main event, and then like on Friday they announced that it was going to be on SmackDown. So I watched it, and because it was on SmackDown, there's a lot of talk on wrestling social media. The internet wrestling community was talking about potentially this could have been something where it was a swerve, that they were going to advertise the match, but then not actually go through with it and then just redo it, or something was going to happen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns went at it in Hell in a Cell on Friday Night SmackDown last night, and a very conclusive finish. Really good match. I actually enjoyed it. Little standard, nothing crazy. They did some cool chair spots, and there's that shot where Roman Reigns like power bombed him over the rope just like he did Dominic the week before. But of course, the cell is right there, the Hell in a Cell, and he crashed into it. And I mean, Rey Mysterio takes these bumps like a champ, bro. And then he came in, and he choked him out and tapped him out. Roman Reigns retains. And then, of course, the Bloodline comes in the ring afterwards to celebrate with them. But yeah, that was it. And that was the match. It was on SmackDown. I haven't heard yet why it was on SmackDown. I'm assuming I got some podcasts lined up, and I haven't really been paying attention too much about why they moved it to SmackDown. I did sort of briefly hear something on the Matt Man podcast. I read something, and then they were talking about it earlier today, where USA was apparently pissed that WWE put the Hell in a Cell match on Friday Night SmackDown. I'll hopefully talk more about that tomorrow when I talk about the week in wrestling. But Hell in a Cell on Friday Night SmackDown was actually pretty decent. Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary as the outcome we suspected. I know there's a lot of talk about people, there was a lot of talk from people thinking that Dominic was going to turn on Rey Mysterio, but Dominic was nowhere to be found. He's selling the injuries from the week before, being tossed completely out of the damn ring. So, yeah, that's it. Hell in a Cell on Friday Night SmackDown. And before I jump into my predictions, I had posted on my TikTok and Instagram that I was gonna go and watch one of the 48 Hell in a Cell matches from the past. Watch it and then talk about it here today. If you go check me out on Instagram at From the Top Rope Podcast, and at TikTok at From the Top Rope. I talked about it on there where I did a little a number generator, a number spin wheel, and it picked a random number. And the number it picked was number 35. And the 35th Hell in a Cell was the 2016 Hell in a Cell with Kevin Owens defending his Universal Championship against Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell, obviously. And so first off, damn, is it just great to watch matches where fans are in attendance, especially a 2016 WWE crowd. Those sons of bitches were hype, y'all. Both Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins both got big pops, and it was awesome. So obviously they did the video package beforehand. I've never actually seen this match before, so they did the video package beforehand about, of course, Chris Jericho's shenanigans and interfering, helping out his best friend, and with Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins had lost a couple opportunities, and this was their big blow-off match inside Hell of a Cell, where Chris Jericho couldn't get in because obviously he was Hell in a Cell. During the what I call the new model for Hell in a Cell, even though it's not new, it's been happening for over 10 years now, or right around 10 years, something like that, where the Hell in a Cell has its own pay-per-view. Sometimes Hell in a Cell matches feel forced, and they don't feel like matches that warrant a Hell in a Cell. I mean, there's a couple matches we'll talk about today on the podcast that maybe didn't warrant a Hell in a Cell. But this one felt like it did, just based off the video package. And of course, WWE's fantastic with those video packages. But yeah, they both got pops. They both come out, and then they start fighting, and it was a lot of good back and forth. When Kevin Owens does the hardest part of the apron spots, either with himself or against Seth Rollins, oh, they look so painful in this match, so painful. There was a point where I think Seth Rollins did like a modified Falcon Arrow on Kevin Owens onto the apron, and he took that bump like a goddamn champ. And I was looking right into his eyes, and he was selling because it hurt, bro. But really, really good stuff. They kind of went back and forth, nothing really too crazy other than the little bumps. But then Kevin Owens pulls out fire extinguisher and blasts the referee in the eyes. And they have to come in to get the referee out. And of course, while they're getting the referee out, perfect time, huge pop. The biggest pop I saw from that show was Chris Jericho coming out. He puts himself in the cage, locks the cage, holds onto the key. So now Chris Jericho is in the cage with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. Now, what I thought was kind of neat was Chris Jericho essentially just gets his ass kicked several times. He comes in, tries to do something, gets put out, comes back in, tries to do, gets put out. And so even with Chris Jericho in the ring, it's still Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the most part. There was a shot where Kevin Owens had set up the tables on the outside, and Seth Rollins would pick him up for that power bomb to throw him over the top rope onto the tables, and he was struggling. Seth Rollins is Kevin Owens is a big boy, and Seth Rollins is picking him up, and it was a little tough, but Seth Rollins got him over, and he crashed through that, and that was awesome. Several This Is Awesome chants just made me miss live shows. But then, of course, Chris Jericho, after that bump, and then after that bump, Seth Rollins went for a frog splash, pulled him back in the ring, went for a frog splash, and went down. Referee went 1, 2, and Chris Jericho pulled him out of the goddamn ring. Crowd's going crazy. And then basically it never went back for Chris Jericho after that. There was a spot, I don't remember, it was a pretty intense spot. I think it was I can't remember which spot it was, I don't want to lie. Oh, it was a pop-up powerbomb. Kevin Owens caught him in a pop-up powerbomb, and Seth Rollins kicked out, and that was a big pop too. That was a big, because he definitely shouldn't have kicked out, but he did. And then, was this before the match? Yes, this was during the match, where they just awesome chair shots. Seth Rollins was taking some nasty ass chair shots. That was before. So they did the DDT. Kevin Owens did a DDT on Seth Rollins into a chair, and then Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens just beat the hell out of him with the chair. Took some nasty hits too. And then Seth Rollins got back a little bit. I think that's maybe where he took the DDT. And then pop-up powerbomb into the 2 chairs. You know how you put you fold the chairs down so you can sit on them. You just put the 2 seats together. Pop-up powerbomb in like that, and Kevin Owens retains his Universal Championship. Really fun match. Afterwards, Chris Jericho just beat the shit out of Seth Rollins, and that was really it. That was the end of the match. And like I said, I haven't seen that match before, and I don't know what happened after. But man, what a fun Hell in a Cell match. And like I said, based off of the video package, it seemed like it was warranting a Hell in a Cell match. So good job, 2016 WWE. You were doing great stuff. If you guys want to see more, I think every pay-per-view I'm going to do something similar to that, where I look for an old show to watch and I use my number generator to kind of figure it out. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I talk about all that stuff. And actually, you should be following me on Instagram. I'm starting to post a lot more content, both content from here, my podcast, and also content from wrestling as I watch it. I'll post it on there too. All right, y'all, let's talk about Hell in a Cell 2021 happening tomorrow night live on Peacock. We've got 6 matches lined up. Not sure if one of these matches are going to be included in the pre-show, or who knows what's happening, but we're going to go down. So, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I am borderline underwhelmed with the build on the show. Hell in a Cell is always cool, right? And I always appreciate a good WWE pay-per-view, but very underwhelmed by the build. So I'm going to run down these matches. These are going to be my predictions. These are my thoughts, and let's see how it goes. Let me get a sip of my beer. Let's check this out. All right. So first off, I have Cesaro versus Seth Rollins, and just a straight-up singles match. Obviously, they've been going back and forth since what was that, Backlash, whenever Cesaro got attacked by Seth Rollins at the end of the match, all that fun stuff. They've been going back and forth, and Cesaro's kind of had the upper hand the last couple weeks. Look, this is a rematch, right? So we get a WrestleMania rematch right here. Fine, whatever. It's not going to be our first WrestleMania rematch. We're going to talk about that throughout the night. But it is a WrestleMania rematch. Last time Cesaro and Seth Rollins went toe-to-toe, Cesaro took the W. It's my personal opinion that Seth Rollins is going to take the W this time and maybe march towards something at Money in the Bank or something like that, because I do enjoy the story. I do think it's a good story, and I do like seeing Cesaro in the limelight more. And I'm loving Seth Rollins' drip character, whatever the hell he's got going on right now. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. This feud can continue more if Seth Rollins wins, and it can continue to something good. If Cesaro wins, that won't happen. So it's my opinion that Seth Rollins will defeat Cesaro tomorrow night. And here we go, another WrestleMania rematch, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. And I'm going to say the exact same thing about this match as I said about the last match. Sami Zayn lost the last time these two met at WrestleMania, and I think that there's a nice feud there, and there's a potential for something great. I would appreciate this feud being escalated in some way. It's just another singles match, just like the Seth Rollins Cesaro match, another singles match. But I would like to see it escalated, but it's not. Sami Zayn's going to win. My opinion, they're going 50-50 on this. And I haven't talked about Paper Champion yet, but Paper Champion are wrestling fantasy sports, fantasy. I don't even know what to call it, fantasy draft, or whatever. I've got Cesaro on my team, but you get to pick the matches and see how well you do. And this one, I guess as I'm talking, I don't feel as confident, because I know who I would pick, like, in general, but then it's really hard when I would talk about like a legitimate fantasy sport where I would get points, because I feel like even with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, Cesaro and Seth Rollins, I mean, I have my conviction, if you will, I have my prediction that Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn are going to win, because I believe they're just going to go 50-50 with them. But knowing WWE, they're out of their goddamn minds. Why we even have these matches again to begin with, or at least in no form of escalation? They could flip it, but I think I'm thinking for this and for my my Paper Champion Fantasy League, I'm definitely gonna go with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. They're gonna 50-50 these matches from WrestleMania and continue the feuds on. And here we go. The dumbest match of the night. I don't even know. I have no nice things to say about Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler is better than this. She's one of the most dominant NXT women champions of all time, and they got her doing that weird shit in the fucking background, behind the stage, backstage, with this fucking doll. And oh my god, let me tell y'all something, Vince, if you're listening, I know you're listening. Fans are gonna boo this shit out of the building if you keep this nonsense going. We want to see good wrestling and fun shit, man. This is not fun. With all that being said, though, there's no way Alexa Bliss does not win. They've been pushing her. Vince believes in her. Maybe even Vince believes in his character. But Alexa Bliss will defeat Shayna Baszler. And I feel bad for Shayna Baszler because, like I said, she was the most dominant NXT Women's Champion of all time. 2 title reigns that were both significant. And even if you look back at that Elimination Chamber match back in 2019 or 2020, 2020, where she won to face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, she dominated there too, and now this bullshit she's doing with Alexa. I feel bad for her, but Alexa Bliss will win, and hopefully this is just, I don't even know. Hopefully it's the end. I don't know what's going to happen. Sorry, I know I sound negative, y'all. I know I sound negative, but I'm like not hyped for this show at all, like not even a little bit. Like, I'm just excited that there's a pay-per-view on, and everybody knows Wrestling Pizza Night. I order wrestling, I watch wrestling, and I order pizza, and I do it with my kids and stuff. So it's a fun night for me, but these matches aren't screaming at me right now, like, oh, I can't wait to see this, you know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, I've seen it all. But it is what it is. And just announced last night on Friday Night SmackDown, Bianca Belair versus Bayley in a Hell in a Cell match. This build has been kind of wonky too. Here we go. We have a Backlash rematch, but still it's a rematch. Bianca Belair is going to win. There's no way Bayley's going to win. Bayley's on my fantasy for pay-per champion. She's on my fantasy faction. The build has been goofy. I don't know what the hell they're doing with Bayley's laugh and all that shit. But I really enjoyed the promo that Bianca cut on SmackDown last night too. So when she actually called it for a Hell in a Cell match. So I really need to get into the news and find out what happened, because obviously this wasn't a Hell in a Cell match until last night, and until yesterday we had a Hell in a Cell match from SmackDown already represented on the show. I'm interested to hear about that. Hopefully we talk more about that on tomorrow's wrap-up of the week show. Yeah, interesting stuff going on. And but yeah, Bianca Belair is going to beat Bayley. Bayley's not ready for it yet. And here's my other one. All right, so Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Rhea Ripley defending her Raw Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair. I've been struggling with this one. I was just talking with my homies over at WrestleBuzz and the Wrestling Journal podcast, and definitely check them out. Wrestling Journal podcast, wherever you get podcasts from, they're really one of my favorite wrestling shows I listen to. We were talking, and I was listening to their show, and they felt a lot the same way about this could go either way. Rhea Ripley definitely deserves and needs to stay Raw Women's Champion, but damn, Vince loves him some Charlotte Flair, man. And I love Charlotte Flair too. She hasn't been too impressive since her return sometime last year. She hasn't really blown me away. She wasn't even at WrestleMania, you know what I'm saying? If I remember correctly. But Vince likes her, and she is Charlotte Flair, so I could easily see Vince giving it back to her. Did we have a title change? Shit. Oh, we did have the SmackDown belts. Damn, I just realized none of the tag belts are represented on this fucking card. What the hell is going on? But, sorry, I digress. Vince loves Charlotte, and Charlotte's the best when she's not chasing a belt, when she's got the fucking belt, you know what I'm saying? So I could easily see her winning, and Rhea Ripley losing her championship here. Rhea Ripley has had a very disappointing championship run anyways. Even the match at Backlash, it all ended weird, but it was a pretty decent match, but it ended weird. Like I said, it is what it is, but I think Charlotte Flair is going to win, and I think she's up to like 13 championships too. So it's getting a little ridiculous, but Charlotte Flair takes the Raw Women's Championship away from Rhea Ripley. Write that shit down. And what I'm assuming is going to be the main event of the night, Bobby Lashley with MVP defending his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre, and what Wikipedia has it called the Last Chance Hell in a Cell match. Now, obviously, the Last Chance is referring to Drew McIntyre cannot challenge for the WWE Championship as long as Bobby Lashley is champion again. It's one of those stipulations. And so here, let me get a sip of my beer. Let's talk about this one. Like, it's really hard to be what they call them, a smart mark, right? I pay attention to the dirt sheets. I pay attention to WWE creative behind the scenes. I pay attention, and because it's part of the fun to me. The storytelling aspect is fantastic, but it's also part of the fun to fantasy book and to try to predict what the company is going to do. That's why there's a gazillion wrestling podcasts. That's why I have my wrestling podcast, because it's fucking fun. All right. So I try to look at this from multi-layers. All right. So Drew McIntyre is the babyface, Bobby Lashley is the heel, right? It would make sense that Drew McIntyre, because this now being his third time going for Bobby Lashley for the belt, obviously the last time being in a triple threat match, but still his third time, another WrestleMania rematch. It would make sense. The same shit happened to Drew McIntyre. He went into his third or fourth match with Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell last year and lost the belt. He lost the belt to Randy Orton. Remember that shit? And so I can see it, because now we're seeing it again. Are they just going to repeat themselves by having Bobby Lashley win, or are they going to put it on Drew McIntyre? I also look at the kind of the behind the scenes stuff. This is going to be their last pay-per-view that's not in front of fans. Money in the Bank, they will have fans. That Friday night SmackDown before Money in the Bank, they will have fans. That Raw after Money in the Bank, they will have fans. And would that be a driving force of whether or not they want a heel champion going in, because they would have two with Roman Reigns as well, or do they want a face champion coming in to greet fans, to truly greet a full crowd back? I have struggled back and forth with this, and I have landed on the almighty Bobby Lashley. It is his time to keep going. Hopefully, this is more definitive than the WrestleMania one, where it was like that weird distraction. And I'm almost positive that that Drew McIntyre wasn't pinned in the triple threat match, if I remember correctly. It was some other guy. I've never heard of him before. He doesn't exist in WWE lore anymore, so who knows? Just kidding. I know it was Braun Strowman. So Bobby Lashley needs a definitive win here, and I say he's going to win. You know what I'm saying? This is a hard one because I really don't know what they're thinking, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. That's the fun part of it. Just trying to figure out what they're thinking. But I'm going to say it right now. Bobby Lashley for the win, retaining his WWE Championship inside Hell in a Cell. I love Hell in a Cell, y'all. I hate the red cage. When I was watching that Kevin Owens match from earlier, I loved seeing that silver cage. It looks slick as hell. The red looks like a goddamn toy. It is what it is. But I still, at the end of the day, I love Hell in a Cell. And this could potentially be a good show. You could always check me out. Don't forget, on Instagram tomorrow, at I Hate Gerge Brooms. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll be going live immediately following the show and doing an Instagram live. And then, of course, releasing as a podcast later on tomorrow night on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But just one more time, let me run down who I think is going to win one more time. I believe it's going to be Seth Rollins defeating Cesaro, Sami Zayn defeating Kevin Owens, Shayna Baszler getting bested by Alexa Bliss. And actually, that match might be, I was listening to, who did I listen to? Wrestle Culture. I was listening to Wrestle Culture, and they were talking about that this could be part cinematic match, which I can see. This is their last time using the Thunderdome, so they could definitely do something crazy here with the Thunderdome. They could definitely utilize this environment, because here in less than a month they won't have kind of like the freedom to do some hokey bullshit. You know what I'm saying? But Alexa Bliss will beat Shayna Baszler. Bianca Belair will retain. Charlotte Flair will be your new Raw Women's Champion. And in the main event, what I'm suspecting will be the main event, Bobby Lashley will retain his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. Don't forget, everybody, you can follow me on Instagram at I Hate Gerge Brooms. That's where I'll be doing my post show tomorrow live on Instagram. You can also follow this podcast at From the Top Rope Podcast. We're also on TikTok. I've been posting a lot of shit on there and trying to create good content for that. You can follow us on TikTok at From the Top Rope. You can also look up Gerge Brooms or From the Top Rope on YouTube and find this podcast. I'm also working on a wrestling Discord, hopefully to post it soon, maybe do some live chatting during the pay-per-views. Don't forget, I am also the general manager of Combat Sports Pro. It's a local promotion here in Fort Walton Beach. Our next show is coming up next Saturday, Tropic Combat, June 26th. Doors open at 6:30, bells at 7. Lots of fun, lots of cool things going to be happening. Main event is a TLC triple threat tag team match for the Combat Sports Pro Tag Team Championships. And it's also going to be Lucha Locura's final night. And you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Combat Sports Pro Wrestling. We are also sponsored by Bath AF. You can find them on Instagram at I Love Bath AF, and Twin Hippo Designs. Cute stationery items for your small business. You can find them on Instagram at Twin Hippo Designs. Don't forget, tomorrow I've got another podcast coming up, episode number 35. I'll be doing the Week on Wrestling, and hopefully I'll have Eric Radecki here to talk a little bit of wrestling with me too. And immediately following the show, like I've said a few times, we'll be doing a live Hell in a Cell review on Instagram, and we'll also be publishing it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. But ladies and gentlemen, that has been your Hell in a Cell preview. Join me on Instagram tomorrow. Can't wait to see y'all. It's gonna be a fun show, I think. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. Ciao.